Right now, in this exact moment, something extraordinary is happening inside your skull. Billions of neurons are firing, electrical signals are racing at 120 meters per second. Chemicals are flooding synaptic gaps. And somehow, out of all that wet, messy biological machinery, there is someone home. You are experiencing something right now. The redness of red, the feeling of curiosity, the weird sensation of being you.
And here's the thing that should completely break your brain. No one, not a single scientist, philosopher, or neuroscientist alive can explain why. This is the biggest unsolved mystery in all of science, and it's happening inside you right now.
We've mapped the human genome. We've photographed black holes. We've sent probes to the edge of the solar system. But the question of why you are conscious, why there is a subjective experience attached to your brain activity at all, remains completely, stubbornly, maddeningly unsolved. Today, we're going deep into what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. We'll look at the leading scientific theories, the experiments that have shaken researchers to their core, and at the end, I'll share the one idea that I think might actually crack this open. Let's start with the problem itself, because most people don't even realize just how weird this question really is. Here's what science can explain about the brain. It can explain how we process visual information. Light hits your retina, signals travel to the visual cortex, your brain constructs an image. Done. It can explain how we focus attention, how we store memories, how we regulate sleep. These are what philosopher David Chalmers calls the easy problems. Now, notice I said easy. These problems involve billions of neurons doing impossible things in real time. They're not easy, but they are solvable. Given enough time and research, we'll figure them out. But then there's the hard problem. And the hard problem is this. Why does any of that brain activity feel like anything at all?
When you see the color blue, your brain processes that wavelength of light. Science can track every neuron involved. But why does blue look like blue? Why isn't it just data in the dark? Why is there a you experiencing it? That gap between the physical brain process and the felt experience is the hard problem, and it has never been solved.
Let me give you a thought experiment that philosophers have been arguing about for decades. Imagine a being that is physically identical to you. Same neurons, same brain structure, same body, same behavior. It talks like you. It laughs. It says ouch when it stubs its toe. But there is nobody home. No inner experience. No felt sensation. Just information processing in the dark. Philosophers call this a philosophical zombie, a P-zombie. Now here's the crucial question. Is that even conceivable? Could something behave exactly like a conscious being without actually being conscious? If the answer is yes, even just logically possible, then that means consciousness is not just brain activity. It's something extra, something that needs explaining on its own terms. And that's exactly the problem that's driven some brilliant scientists absolutely mad, because it means we might be asking the wrong kind of question. We might need a completely new kind of science to even approach this. Stay with me. Scientists haven't just thrown their hands up. There are serious competing theories. Let's run through the big ones, and I'll tell you exactly where each one breaks down. Global workspace theory.
This says consciousness is basically your brain's way of broadcasting information. When something enters your awareness, it lights up a global workspace, a kind of central stage, and gets shared across brain regions. Makes sense, right? It explains a lot about attention and awareness, but here's the problem. It tells us what consciousness does, not why there's any felt experience at all. It's still describing function, not feeling. Integrated Information Theory, IIT? This is wild. Proposed by neuroscientist Giulio Tononi, it says consciousness is a mathematical property of how integrated a system's information is. It even gives it a symbol, phi. The higher your phi, the more conscious you are. And here's the truly strange implication. By this theory, your thermostat might be slightly conscious.
Welcome to Panpsychism, the idea that consciousness isn't produced by the brain. It's a fundamental feature of the universe, like mass or charge. And complex systems just amplify it. Then there's the even wilder theory from physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They say consciousness arises from quantum processes inside microtubules, tiny protein structures in neurons. The brain isn't just a computer, it's a quantum computer. And consciousness is what quantum collapse feels like from the inside. Most neuroscientists are skeptical. The brain is warm and wet. Quantum coherence shouldn't survive that environment. But nobody's fully disproven it either. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. Because all of those theories have something in common. They're all trying to explain consciousness from the outside, as observers measuring brain activity. What if the answer can only come from the inside? There's a new direction in consciousness research that a lot of scientists are quietly getting excited about, and it flips the entire question on its head. I'll get there in just a moment. But first, the experiment that changed everything. In the 1960s, neurosurgeon Joseph Bogan started cutting the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerves connecting the left and right hemispheres, in patients with severe epilepsy. It worked. The seizures stopped. But what happened next was extraordinary. When researchers showed these patients an image to their left eye only, which goes to the right brain hemisphere, and asked them what they saw, they said nothing. But when asked to use their left hand to point to what they saw, they pointed correctly every time. There were two minds in one skull, each with its own awareness, its own knowledge, neither knowing what the other knew. And what that tells us is deeply uncomfortable. The sense of being a single, unified self, the feeling that there's one you in there, might be a story your brain tells itself, a construction, not a truth. You are not one thing. You might be many processes running in parallel that simply agree to call themselves. So here's the new direction I mentioned. It's called the first-person science of consciousness, and its most radical proponent is neuroscientist Anil Seth. Seth argues that your brain isn't passively receiving the world. It's actively constructing it. Every sight, sound, sensation, your brain is making a controlled hallucination and checking it against incoming data. Which means, when you see an apple as red, that redness doesn't exist out there in the world. It exists in your brain. It's a prediction, a best guess. Consciousness, then, might not be a special ingredient added to brain activity. It might be what certain kinds of brain activity feel like from the inside. That's not a complete answer, but it shifts the question. Instead of asking, why does the brain produce consciousness, we ask, what makes some brain processes feel like something, and others not?
And that, finally, might be a question we can actually start to answer. I want to know what you think. Do you believe consciousness is something your brain produces, or something more fundamental? Drop it in the comments. Genuinely curious. And if this kind of deep dive into science and reality is your thing, hit subscribe. I do these every week. No fluff, no padding, just the stuff that actually makes you think differently. The mystery of consciousness is the mystery of what you are. And the fact that you're aware enough to wonder about it is maybe the most extraordinary thing in the known universe. Next week, we're going into dreams. Why your brain constructs an entire convincing reality every night, and what that tells us about perception. See you there.